Good morning, this is Annika. I am in rural Louisiana. There are lots of bugs and there's a swamp behind me, and this is my campsite. I didn't plan on coming here, so I was going to be in Lafayette, Louisiana, and then in New Orleans. But in my last day in Austin, overnight, on the night of my birthday, somebody smashed the window of my car in. They didn't take anything, it just, I don't know if it was like a walk by or something, they just smashed the window. So I had to stay longer in Austin to get my window repaired. And then I didn't make it to Lafayette, so I picked this rural campground. I paid $4 for camping and a hot shower with soap. This is like the nicest campground. There's no one here. I'm the only tent camper. There's a few RVs here. And yeah, $4. Gotta be kidding me. So I'm half waiting, for an alligator to come up and snack on me. I don't even know if there's alligators in Louisiana. It just reminds me of Florida, and there's lots of alligators in Florida. But so I've been reflecting on this experience of having my window smashed in the car. And I was so torn between two reactions. So there was like the normal reaction. I had this like spike of fear when I first saw it. And there was like the normal reaction of, fussing over it and wondering what I should have done differently. And my host was saying a lot of things like, oh gosh, I didn't know, we've never had problems on this street. If I had known, I would have, I would have made space for you in the driveway and things like that. And so I noticed these like two layers of like negative reactions or emotional reactions to the event. One was the just kind of the grief, like the just regular grief and anger, the sense of violation, like this was my space, and like that was my car. The frustration with having to pay for the repair, the frustration and the grief over like the time lost and the plans that I had been looking forward to not working out. So there was that layer. But then what I found so much harder was the second layer of blame, like the shoulds, right? So like I can grieve something without trying to should it to be different. Like when my aunt died, she died a couple years ago or a year and a half ago, and she had outlived all of the predictions for her life under her health conditions. She outlived the doctor who told her she wouldn't live as long as she did. And when she died, it was everything just kind of worked out. Like, even though it was during the pandemic, her sister, my mom, was able to be with her, and it just, it was time. And I grieved, I grieved really hard because she and I were really close. She was like a second mother to me. And so I moved through a lot of grief, and it was awful. And of course I wish I didn't have to grieve. I'd love to have her around instead without, having to grieve. But I noticed that this layer of should and blame was absent. I didn't have this additional layer of suffering where I was going, oh, if only, if only, I wish I don't know, I wish if only she had, done some preventative thing, or if only somebody could have intervened, or, like all of these, like, this should have been prevented and it could have been prevented, and then blaming self or other, how it should have been instead. And that was absent. And so yesterday, with this much smaller grief, it's like, you throw some money at it, and thankfully I have the money to do it. So I feel really privileged to be able to just pull out a card, swipe it, and get my window repaired. Most of my life, I've not been in that situation. Most of my life, this would have been a matter of, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to pay for this? So I didn't feel that should layer. I felt gratitude, gratitude that I could pay for it, gratitude that I found a repair place that could do it the same day, gratitude that it happened in Austin. You know, this could have happened anywhere. And to be frank, when I put the message on the back of my car, there's nothing wrong with you, I kind of thought, somebody who's really deep in in an internal war, like who's very, very conflicted and very much feels like there's something wrong with them, might be triggered by that message and might take it out on my car. I've been in some really dark places where I have felt an impulse like that, where somebody would give a positive message like that, even if it's true, that felt invalidating to my pain, and it made me want to lash out. So when I put that message on there, I was like, there's a chance that somebody would vandalize my car over that message by, having their feeling invalidated or triggered by it. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if that's why they smashed my window in. Apparently, there were quite a few smash-ins that night, so, not necessarily in the same neighborhood, but at the repair place, there were quite a few people who had the same thing happen, so maybe it had nothing to do with it. But I just felt this gratitude wanting to come up. It said, like, I don't know. I don't know the full situation. There are so many potentials here. It could have happened anywhere else, and I would have been without the resources I had in Austin. I would have been without a friend whose house I was staying at, with a refrigerator and getting rides to the repair place and all those, all of those benefits that I wouldn't have had if this hadn't happened like here in the bayou, right? And then I also felt this sense of, who am I to decide how it should be or should have been? What do I know? For all I know, I could be, if I had left Austin on time, it could have put me right in the way of some car wreck or some shooting or some other catastrophe. How would I know? I will never know what would have been if I had stuck to my original schedule, if I had been able to leave when I had planned to leave. For all I know, it could have been disastrous to leave Austin during that time. For all I know, having this change in my schedule, I might meet someone who is going to have a tremendous positive impact on my life, or maybe I will have a tremendous positive impact on their life that would not have happened had I followed my original schedule. So it felt hard to stay in that place because everyone around me just kind of had the, oh, this should have not happened, how could we have prevented this from happening, attitude. And so it felt really counter-cultural and challenging to be in that place of gratitude and humility, of surrendering to that experience and just saying, okay, this is what's happening today, and I don't know why, but this is my path. This is meant to happen on my path today, and I'm going to grieve. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to have all of the feels about it, but I'm not going to assume that I know how it should have been. and I'm not going to blame myself or someone else for messing up how it should have been. And once I was on the road, especially once I crossed the state line into Louisiana, I've been so excited to come to Louisiana because it was one of the 3 states I haven't been to. Now it's the second to last state that I haven't been to. So now I've been so excited, and I've been really wanting to. I know this is weird, but I kind of like heat and humidity. I'm kind of enjoying being hot and sweaty and my clothes sticking to my body. I know there's hardly anyone like this, but that's what I'm like. So I've been really excited once I came here and I heard the sounds of, the crickets and the cicadas. I don't even know what the sounds all are. Last night there were a bunch of fireflies flying around my car. That was super cool. And just so many sounds. There's just so many sounds coming from the water, all kinds of creatures. I don't even know what they are. So as soon as I was kind of away from Austin and away from other people, I just felt that gratitude descend, and it really freed me up to be like, I have a choice here. That I don't have a choice about the grief. The grief is there. The anger is there. Those emotions are not a choice. That's a natural response to, having my space violated and my property destroyed, and, it coming at a cost to me. So grief and anger, yeah, those are emotions that I'm going to have to experience and move through my body. But the shoulding, that's optional. And so as soon as I was on the road, I felt free to opt out of them and just surrender and come back into this place of accepting my path as it is and feeling gratitude for what I do have. So, yeah, that's my swampy reflection here. I'm gonna go take one of those warm showers that I get for $4 and wipe some of that sweat off, just so it can accumulate again within the first, 5 minutes. All right, see you later.